This is the main news from Korea. A man in his 40s who posted a picture of a Molotov cocktail in an online community predicting that he would kill President Yoon Suk-yeol was sentenced to prison in the first trial. According to the legal community on the 20th, Judge Jang Young-chet, the second sole criminal of the Seoul Western District Court, sentenced Mr. On April 27, at his home in Suwon-si, Gyeonggi-do, Mr. A made one Molotov cocktail by putting thinner and diesel together in an empty soju bottle and rolling up newspaper into the mouth of the bottle. The next day, he posted an article on an online community with the title, "Let's kill Yoon Suk-yeol and complete the second April 19th revolution." In the article, Mr. A attached a photo of the Molotov cocktail made the previous day and a map of the Yongsan police station in Seoul, and wrote that at 12 p.m. on May 9, let's make a Molotov cocktail and attack the Yongsan police station at Namji Station Exit 1 and seize guns and police cars. He also rushed to the Yongsan Ministry of National Defense building and occupied it, and the rest went to Acro Vista and asked to remove Yoon Suk-yeol from power with physical force. The court said that Mr. A's crime was a threat to people with different social and political views and to the police agency that maintains public order, and that it is a crime that endangers the basic order of liberal democracy, where various arguments and values coexist. However, he explained the reason for the sentencing, saying that his family vowed to lead the way instead of throwing Molotov cocktails or violent acts when the accused reflected on himself. Kim Jae-won, a former member of the People's Power, recently criticized President Yoon Suk-yeol and former leader Lee Jun-suk, who is raising the level of offensive against the ruling party, as being almost unprecedented in constitutional history. Former Supreme Council member Kim said, "The problem was accumulated and exploded as the decisions of the Ethics Committee were piled up one by one in relation to what the party leader had done in the past in relation to the decline in approval ratings for President Yoon and the People's Power." Former Supreme Council member Kim said that it is not normal for the ruling party, which won the presidential election and even won the local elections, to launch a committee to take emergency measures in an emergency situation. He said he was a little worried about whether he would be able to afford it. He added that the only solution is to create conditions in which leadership within the ruling party can be restored quickly and the president can exercise leadership. Former Supreme Council member Kim said that in response to former party leader Lee Jun-suk's recent comments targeting President Yoon, "The people were deceived and I was deceived. Even if Lee Jun-suk did a bit of slander during the presidential election, he won the election." Interpreted as saying, "I thought President Yoon was a tall person, but he's not a tall person." He also criticized former party leader Lee Jun-suk's words as a leap of logic and, furthermore, as an acknowledgement that former party leader Lee Jun-suk caused problems in the presidential election. He then shook his head, saying, "What kind of internal shooting was expressed, but in fact, it was not an internal shooting, but a gunshot from behind." When former party leader Kim attacks anyone within the party, he does not openly do so, but at the level of so-called gossip, but former leader Lee said he was just attacking openly. He said that he wanted to stay still. He also pointed out that it has become customary to attack directly, knowing that it is avoiding because of fear or avoiding because he is right. On the 20th, former President Lee Jun-suk, the power of the people, asked for support by joining the party so that President Yoon's aides could honorably retire from politics on the 20th. Former party leader Lee Jun-suk made this statement after posting a link to his party membership in a Facebook post on the same day. He added, "If the party fee is more than 1,001, you can become a member of the responsible party after 3 months and add strength to the honorable retirement of those close to President Yoon Suk-yeol." Former party leader Lee Jun-suk has been deprived of his position due to the transition to the Emergency Response Committee, and has filed an application for an injunction to suspend the effect of non-substitutes and a lawsuit on the merits. Since then, the level of criticism of President Yoon Suk-yeol and his close aides has been heightened in media interviews and the like. It is observed that former party leader Lee Jun-suk is encouraging his supporters to join the party in order to increase the number of pro-Lee Jun-suk party members to lay a foothold for a comeback and exert influence on the party competition at the next national convention. Jang Ye-chan, chairman of the Youth Foundation, who claims to be a pro-presidential line, criticized Lee Jun-suk, former representative of the People's Power, for threatening to overthrow the Yoon Suk-yeol government. In response, Chairman Chong said that he would become a hawk that catches Lee Jun-suk and take responsibility for blocking the offensive on the side of former party leader Lee Jun-suk so that the government and the ruling party could focus on people's livelihoods. Chairman Jang, who opened a full-fledged attack on former party leader Lee Jun-suk, starting with a press conference at the National Assembly on the 18th, appeared on a radio program on the night of the 19th and attacked with determination. Chairman Jang said that there are internal bitterness and internal criticism as well as affection for the government's success, and internal criticism because we think that our space can only be opened when the government fails and collapses. I was looking forward to it, but as I go on, it is showing the latter. He judged the former CEO's remarks as an act of struggle for power to take the initiative. Chairman Jang argued that, if time accumulates, he does not believe that the current results will be maintained until the end of the year, as many people are also feeling this. Meanwhile, Chairman Jang said that the government and the ruling party should only focus on the livelihood of the people. He said that he would take responsibility for minor political issues and that he would take the initiative to block the attack and turn back the voice of former party leader Lee Jun-seok. To this end, he declared that he would open a public opinion battle against former party leader Lee Jun-seok, saying that he would freely tell the story he wanted to tell anywhere, such as appearing in various media. At the Democratic Party's August National Convention, candidate Lee Jae-myung and Park Yong-jin, who are aiming for the next party, faced off in the Jeollanam-do region, which is the biggest battleground. Candidate Lee Jae-myung emphasized the strong Democratic Party by building an angle with the Yoon Suk-yeol government, and candidate Park pointed out the controversy over Article 80 of the party constitution and the problem of the dog-daughter fandom, and put forward the Democratic Party with the basics right. Candidate Park aimed at Lee by bringing up the controversy in Article 80 of the party constitution, which stipulates suspension of duties upon prosecution. If Article 80 of the party constitution is repealed or amended, the people's power will be directed at us, the Democratic Party can accept money now. He said that it is not the constitution of the party to protect us from political oppression, saying that the people can once again be disappointed and turn their backs on the Democratic Party. Candidate Park also said that if there is a discrepancy between party sentiment and public opinion, or if the public makes a wrong decision, the leader must sometimes persuade it and sometimes restrain party members and supporters to move forward. He indirectly criticized candidate Jae-myung Lee, referring to the situation in which the dog-daughter, a strong supporter of candidate Jae-myung Lee, is putting pressure on the revision of Article 80 of the party constitution. On the other hand, the Democratic Party will hold the Gwangju and Jeollanam-do regional primaries on the 21st following Jeonbuk on this day. The online voter turnout for right party members in the Honam region of the Democratic Party was 17.20% in Jeonbuk, 18.18% in Gwangju, and 16.76% in South Jeolla Province. This is a lower turnout than Daegu and Gyeongbuk recorded 43.38% and 42.35%, respectively, while Busan recorded 35.55% and Sejong 33.19%. The Democratic Party of Korea launched an offensive against Mrs. Kim, saying that it was considered inappropriate and equivalent to the president while being investigated by the police. Kwon Song-dong, floor leader of the People's Power, launched a counterattack by referring to photos taken by Kim Jong-suk during her solo visit to the Taj Mahal in India during the Moon Jae-in administration. He also mentioned the situation when First Lady Kim Young-suk accompanied Moon on a state visit to Laos in 2019. Minority Leader Kwon said the Democratic Party should look back on the past. Asking what she showed off by the majestic steps of Mrs. Kim, the wife of President Moon, who overtaken the president during her visit to Laos, she asked if she was the president's wife or the prestige of being equal to that of the head of state. Minority Leader Kwon said that the Democratic Party's random livelihood is crossing the road, and it is not a day or two that the Democratic Party uses even the rule of law and security as a tool for political conflict, but he also feels saddened by the Democratic Party, which repeats wrong behavior even in an unprecedented crisis of people's livelihood. Reb. Ko Min-young, who spoke as if Prime Minister Modi of India lied about Kwon's remarks, said, "Is it possible to handle it?" He also said that he would not explain further because he would have to check directly with India to see whether the invitation was specially made by India. Kwon Song-dong, floor leader of the People's Power, is not just selling the country against former Liberation Chairman Kim Won-woong, who was additionally charged with new corruption allegations during an audit of the Ministry of Patriots and Veterans Affairs on the 20th. He also criticized the act of selling history to gain money and status as a tycoon. In a Facebook post on the same day, floor leader Kwon said that a thorough investigation and strong punishment are necessary. Representative Kwon mentioned the audit results such as overestimating the printing cost of 500 million won for the publishing business related to former Chairman Kim, overriding the construction cost of the cafe by 98 million won, accepting 100 million won in compensation, using the donation of 130 million won for other purposes, and misappropriating the corporate card of 22 million won. Later, former Chairman Kim shouted for liberation with his mouth and accused him of wearing clothes with his hands. In addition, former Chairman Kim asserted that when a Ministry of Maritime Affairs and Fisheries official was killed, he asserted that it was to North Korea and the root cause was the alienation of the pro-Japanese forces. Reb. Kwon strongly criticized Kim, the former chairman of the Liberation Society, for playing a role. It was later confirmed that a union member who caused a traffic fatality accident while participating in a protest to block transport at the Haejinro-ikan factory of the Public Transport Workers Union Cargo Coalition of the National Confederation of Democratic Trade Unions was in a position to be handed over to the prosecution. The cargo union member who caused a fatal accident due to illegal parking has been dealt with by law. The Ikan police station in Gyeonggi province announced on the 20th that it had arrested and investigated Mr. A union member in his 60s, belonging to the Cargo Coalition of the Federation of Korean Trade Unions, KCTU, on charges of murder in violation of the Special Act on Traffic Accident Handling. Person A is suspected of causing a traffic fatality accident while illegally parking a truck on the road in the direction of Incheon on Route 42 near the factory on the morning of the 9th of last month, when the Cargo Solidarity of the Confederation of Trade Unions held a protest to block transportation at the Ikan factory. The Ministry of Justice announced on the afternoon of the 19th that the electronic travel permit system will be introduced to Jeju by the end of this year at the Jeju Provincial Information Session to help the understanding of the electronic travel authorization system at the auditorium on the first floor of the Jeju Immigration Office. Regarding the exact timing, the Ministry of Justice said, "We plan to introduce it in the next month." The electronic travel authorization system was introduced for the purpose of collecting basic information to determine in advance whether foreigners are suitable for traveling to Korea. The Ministry of Justice has been receiving electronic travel permits for citizens of 112 countries who can enter Korea without a visa through the Visa Exemption Agreement or General Visa Free since September last year. However, at that time, considering the characteristics of an international tourism city, Jeju was excluded from the introduction of the electronic travel permit system. The Ministry of Justice also announced that it is considering applying the electronic travel permit system to countries that are experiencing problems among countries that can enter the country using the Jeju visa-free system. The $1 exchange rate surged for 2 days in a row, approaching the 1,331 mark. The strong dollar trend, which seemed to have calmed down for a while, is reviving as there is growing caution that the monetary policy of the U.S. Central Bank, the Federal Reserve, will be more hawkish than market expectations, and the prospect of a weak euro. In the Seoul foreign exchange market on the 19th, the $1 exchange rate rose to 1,328.81 during the day, breaking the high point of 1,326.71 recorded on the 15th of last month in a month, and then dropping slightly to close the transaction at 1,325.91. The day before too, it closed at 1,320.71, up 10.41 from the previous trading day, and it jumped 5.21 more. The intraday high recorded today is the highest level in about 13 years and 4 months since 1,357.51 on April 29, 2009. The dollar index, which shows the value of the dollar against 6 major currencies, again crossed the 107 line and is heading towards the 108 line. The dollar index fell after hitting 108.54, the highest in about 20 years, on the 14th of last month, and has fluctuated below the 107 line since the 26th of the same month, but the upward trend has revived. It was confirmed on the 15th that the number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in Korea last week was the highest compared to the population among 216 countries where the statistics were collected. Among major countries, Korea is the only country where the spread of the epidemic has not stopped for nearly 50 days. As the opening and Chuseok holidays continue right after the holiday season, there are concerns that the refashion could be larger and longer than expected. On the 15th, there were 62,078 new confirmed cases, although the number of tests decreased due to heavy rain and holidays. The number of confirmed cases increased by 12.3% from last week. For the 49th day since June 28, the number of confirmed cases has continued to increase compared to the previous week. In major countries such as Japan, Germany, and France, it is in contrast to the decline in 30 to 40 days. Another problem is that the number of infections in the elderly, who are at high risk of worsening into severe cases after being confirmed, is increasing. On the 29th of last month, President Yoon announced that he would focus on the protection of high-risk groups, emphasizing targeted precision quarantine. Japan's new cases of COVID-19 surpassed 260,000 for the first time. According to local public broadcaster NHK's tally, as of 6:15 p.m. on the 19th, there are 261,29 new confirmed cases of COVID-19 across Japan. This is 5,521 more than the 255,508 new confirmed cases confirmed the day before, the highest number for 2 days in a row. The number of newly confirmed COVID-19 deaths today was 292, the third highest on record. 19 of Japan's 47 prefectures broke the record for the highest number of new confirmed cases. When looking at the number of confirmed cases by region, the capital city, Tokyo, 27,676, Osaka Prefecture, 22,798, and Aichi Prefecture, 17,716, were in that order. The Japanese government has announced that it will not track the number of new COVID-19 cases on a daily basis. Due to the recent surge in new confirmed cases, the burden on frontline medical institutions to identify the number of patients and report them to the government has increased. According to the Asahi Shimbun on the 20th, Minister of Health, Labor, and Welfare Katsunobu Kato appeared at the National Assembly the day before and said that he would review the identification of all confirmed cases, saying that he would quickly come to a conclusion after hearing the opinions of experts so as to reduce the burden on the field while maintaining the purpose of diagnosing all confirmed cases. The Ministry of Health, Labor, and Welfare is reviewing measures such as requiring only some medical institutions to report patients or reporting only those who are at risk of aggravation. In Japan, COVID-19 is classified as the second highest Class 2 equivalent along with tuberculosis among the 5 stages of the Infectious Disease Act. Based on this report, the government and local governments determine the status of infection and determine the need for hospitalization. Each local government in Japan counts and announces the number of new confirmed cases every day. On the 15th, Prime Minister Fumio Kishida instructed Minister of Health, Labor, and Welfare Kato to review all confirmed cases of COVID-19 and consult with experts on whether Corona-19 can be treated as a Class 5 similar to seasonal influenza flu. Minister of Health, Labor, and Welfare Kato said on the same day that if COVID-19 is downgraded to Category 5, special temporary vaccinations paid by taxes will be terminated if it is not urgently needed, suggesting the possibility of paying a fee for vaccinations. Currently, COVID-19 is classified as equivalent to Type 2, so there is no personal burden for treatment and vaccination. However, the prevailing opinion is that the government and the ruling party should pay for medical treatment and vaccinations with taxes for the time being. The record heat wave in China has also begun to hit the global supply chain, CNBC, an American economic media outlet, reported on the 19th. As the power shortage has become serious due to the heat wave, the authorities are taking measures to cut power to industrial complexes as well. Recently, China is experiencing sweltering heat, exceeding 40 degrees Celsius every day, mainly in the southwestern region. This is the worst heat wave since meteorological observations began in 1961. As the use of air conditioners for offices and homes increased, power consumption skyrocketed. Last month, China's electricity consumption was 832.4 billion kilowatt-hours, an increase of 6.3% compared to the same period last year. In this situation, the drought is also exacerbating the problem. This is because the water level in China's hydroelectric power plants has been lowered due to drought caused by the sweltering heat. In particular, the Yangtze River is at its lowest level in 60 years. As a result, problems with hydroelectric power generation such as the Three Gorges Dam are occurring. As a result, each local government started to cut off power in industrial complexes where factories are densely populated, affecting the global supply chain. In particular, Sichuan province has banned all industrial facilities from the 15th to 6th. About 16,500 factories and steel mills of global companies such as Apple's consigned manufacturers Foxconn, Toyota, and CATL have stopped production. The heat wave is a very serious situation, said Wang Dan, a famous Chinese economist, in an interview with CNBC. It will affect energy-intensive industries as well as global supply chains. He predicted that the power outage would reduce China's GDP growth by 1.5 percentage points. Goldman Sachs recently lowered its forecast for China's GDP growth this year from 3.3% to 3%. In particular, Nomura Securities lowered its growth forecast from 3.3% to 2.8%. It is the first time that a growth rate of 2% is expected. China's Central Meteorological Agency issued a high-temperature red warning on the 20th in 19 provinces and cities in central and southern China. Daytime highs in these areas are expected to exceed 35 degrees. The high-temperature warning in this area continued for 31 days in a row. According to the Chinese Academy of Meteorological Sciences, it is the longest since meteorological observations began in 1961. As the amount of precipitation is only half of that of the previous year, severe drought continues. The bottom of the Yangtze River was exposed upstream, and the lake was also dry and 830,000 people suffered from water shortages. The drought has cut hydroelectric power production in half in Sichuan. Starting from the 15th, the plant has been completely shut down and power supply to shopping malls and offices has been limited. The auto industry is also affected by this. Concerns are growing that the auto industry's supply chain is not running due to climate, following the setbacks caused by the 2-month lockdown in Shanghai from March. The number of casualties caused by the flood has continued to increase since June. From the 17th to the 18th, heavy rains caused flooding in the mountains of Datong County, Xining City, Qinghai Province, in the inland northwest of China, killing 23 people and leaving 8 missing. In Liaoning, a major granary, 13 large and small floods have occurred since June, causing great damage. Authorities are concerned about food production shortages due to drought and flooding in the granary. It is extremely unusual for a flood like this year to occur in the northeast region. A group of about 100 thieves broke into a convenience store in downtown Los Angeles, USA, and looted goods. The situation at the time was clearly recorded on CCTV inside and outside the store, and the police asked for information related to the faces in the video. According to the Los Angeles Police Department, the incident took place around 12:40 a.m. on the 15th at a 7-Eleven convenience store near Figueroa Street. A large group of about 100 unknown people entered the convenience store and began to sweep the shelves without hesitation, including sweets, drinks, cigarettes, and lottery tickets. Not only did they steal, but they also broke into convenience stores and threw things at each other. Some had their faces covered with hats, but many were exposed, and a wide smile was captured on CCTV. Convenience store employees and general customers had to stand still in the corner of the store in a situation that occurred without notice, and they were terrified. The violent acts of the thieves continued for a while, and in the blink of an eye, the convenience store was turned into a mess and then slowly escaped the scene. The local police are presuming that they were people who were doing a flash mob near a convenience store. A flash mob is an unspecified mass of people who gather at a meeting place, perform a specific action for a short period of time, and then disperse in an instant. There was also a foreign media report that people who broke into the convenience store occupied the surrounding streets just before the crime and performed a flash mob. Police are analyzing CCTV in convenience stores to identify and arrest looters. They will face charges of theft, looting, and vandalism, and the person around us could be the culprit. They said they needed information and help from the citizens. Blackpink's second regular album pre-release song Pink Venom hit major global charts. Although it is not the title track of the album, it is a song that signaled the start of the Born Pink project, but it is expected to break various new records. According to YG Entertainment on the 20th, Blackpink's Pink Venom, released at 1 p.m. the previous day, topped the iTunes worldwide song chart. It shows the distribution of popularity evenly across 4 continents, North and South America, Europe, Asia, and Oceania, and is the result of taking the top spot in a total of 69 regions. It also swept the domestic music charts. As soon as Pink Venom was released, it went straight to number 1 on Bugs, Vibe, and Genie. In the Melon Top 100, which has been changed to a total of 24-hour usage and real-time number of users, it entered 3rd place in an hour and is increasing the ranking, turning on the green light of the chart all kill. In particular, the music video is explosively popular. The music video for Pink Venom, which changed the top title of a K-pop girl group in this field by recording about 2.5 million simultaneous viewers on YouTube Premiere, surpassed 70 million views in about 15 hours after it was released. This is a faster increase than How You Like That, which is Blackpink's mega hit and the shortest record of 100 million views in a K-pop girl group music video. Influential foreign media such as Billboard, Rolling Stone, Pitchfork, NME, SCMP, and The Times are looking back on Blackpink's comeback and past records, expressing great anticipation for their future moves. US Billboard praised Blackpink's unique identity in the new song, and NME said that Blackpink has set out to conquer the world, and Pink Venom is a perfect work that brings together the personalities and talents of the 4 members. The number of pre-orders for Blackpink's second regular album Born Pink, which is still close to the release date, is also of great interest. This album is poised to break the record for the first, best, and most records of a single K-pop girl group album by exceeding 1.5 million pre-orders within a week of pre-order sales. English Premier League club Chelsea confirmed through social networking service SNS on the 20th that the person in question was a season ticket holder following our statement of racist abuse in the match against Tottenham on Sunday. He officially announced that he would be suspended from entry indefinitely. On the 15th, Chelsea and Tottenham met at Stamford Bridge in London, England. At the time, Chelsea took the lead with a goal from Kalidou Koulibaly, but Pierre-Emile Højbjerg equalised in the 13th minute and Tottenham counter-attacked. However, in the 22nd minute of the second half, Chelsea took the lead again with an additional goal from Reece James. Chelsea continued their offensive until the end of the game, but Harry Kane scored a dramatic goal in extra time in the second half to draw 2-2. However, on this day, a racist act by a Chelsea fan towards Son Heung-min was discovered. At that time, while moving to take the corner kick, a fan mocked Son Heung-min, tearing his eyes. The photo quickly went viral on social media, and an investigation was launched after Chelsea caught the situation. In a statement from Chelsea on the 19th, "We detest all acts of discrimination. We will respond without exception. It was our consistent position. This is something that puts everyone on the team to shame, including true fans. Announced that strong measures will be taken." In the end, after the investigation, Chelsea gave a ban of entry to the fan who inflicted racial discrimination, and showed no tolerance for strong sanctions. Thank you for watching today. Please like and subscribe.